Good morning, and I'm in somebody else's truck at the moment, so I was trying to find all the buttons. I'm off-road, don't worry. Medication. Maybe that's not what you need. Anybody remember Roy Hart? It was Roy Hart, wasn't it? Died of fucking cancer from smoking, but he never smoked. Amazing. Anyway, I digress. I have been on medication for the best part of 20 years. And if you remember a little while back, I think I put it out on my main channel that I was so low, so miserable that I'd had enough. Not to the point I'm going to do anything about it, obviously, but I just felt, what was the point? Anyway, the doctor ups my medication. Medication, I will say, helped, right? And doctors can only go on what you tell them, and then the rest of it I don't trust them anyway. Sorry, I just don't. And I'm off-road for a while, by the way, here, so I should be able to get to talk before we get on the road and the road noise starts going along and you don't like it very much. So as you know, on this travel, I have been heavy drinking extremely since I was sort of 17, 18, more 18. I used to drink as a kid because what you used to do. You go to the parents' drinks cabinet, or you go out to a party, or you family dues or whatever, but it wasn't massive. And then when I became that I could go into the clubs and pubs, which I did at 16, 17, I drank a lot more then. And then as I've been able to go in under my own steam, I drank a lot. And then before I started drink driving, which I did, I'm not proud of, but I did. Before that, it was either do you want to drive or do you want to go out for a drink, and the driving came first. So, but anyway, after that period, I was just a machine. And I worked out you'd only have a night off, really, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, because they were the only times in the clubs in Weston that was shite. So you naturally have 2 days off, that'd be it. Other than that, anybody remember Blockbuster? So sometimes on those nights you get down to Blockbusters, get yourself a film out, right, and some nibbles, and stay in and play Resident Evil or Doom and Blockbuster. I fucking love those nights in. A load of you around and all trying to work it all out. Anyway, I digress. So, and I've worked out at the moment I'm just short of 80 days without a drink, which I'm pretty proud of. And the changes and the well-being just keeps getting better and better. Now, the drugs part we'll get onto. Obviously, I've been what I was told was bipolar. It wasn't a completely professional diagnosis. The doctor had said by all your things, and I'd seen people about, I can't remember what they call it, when they go through everything and all the rest of it, and whatever. Anyway, but I've done a hell of a lot of research, and it turns out that a lot of people who had really bad depression, mood swings up and down all over the place, highs, lows, and all the other crazy shit that goes on with it, who were raging alcoholics or at least binge drinkers, displayed many of the same problems. And when they quit, the brains, because what happens is, because the alcohol gives you such ups, right, and does what it does, even though it's a depressant, I know, but basically it releases a load of serotonin or happy chemicals into you, that your brain starts to deregulate it because it's just too much. And then this is why when you've been doing it for years, this is what I'm told, this is why when you've been doing it for years, that you just kind of plateau and it's all a bit shit, and then it's hard to get highs, easy to get lows. Since I've been off this stuff, alcohol, my highs, as in my happiness level, went through the roof to the point of being not unbearable, but it is a bit much. All right, and I was on 100 milligrams of sertraline. So I went back to my old dose, right, which was 50 milligrams, and that's what I've been on for the last 3 weeks. And I've been looking for any signs to say that I've done the wrong thing, and all the signs at the moment is that I'm still very, very happy. Yeah, you'll get days where you'll feel slightly less inclined, but not depressed, not miserable, not down. And this is your brain settling in to its new normal, all right? And the part that was troubling me was, as my brain's settling in, I'm still taking these chemicals. And I'm just like, it's hard to explain, but I'm still feeling excited for no reason. It's nice. It's like, now I'm beaming away. I'm fucking unreal, stupidly happy, right? Which is lovely. It is. I was always happy as a kid. And what I've decided to do now, because I gave it 3 weeks to get to this level, and bearing in mind, I have had 10 days of the most excruciating gout, where I couldn't go and do the gym, I couldn't do any exercise, and I have to say that the exercising the next day, you'd get a natural high. And I haven't been able to do that, and I'm still chuffed, still happy, right? I can't tell you. And everybody thinks I'm making this shit up, right? They can't believe that you could be, right? And I couldn't. And if you'd have told me, I'd have said to you, oh, you're just trying to make it up to make yourself look more virtuous or better or whatever. Not the case. I can't fucking sell this enough. Seriously? Because while you're on it, it's your go-to to make yourself happy, right? And it's the bits in between that are a bit shit. So the very thought of the bits in between being the good part, and now the taking alcohol being the dread, just in case it ruins all of this that you've now got, right? It's hard to put into words, and I'm usually quite vocal. It's a bit difficult to explain, because it's like I've got my life back. It's like I've gone back to the old side. But the point of this video was, I'm now going to come off the medication. Not just like that. I'm going to do the same reduction over the next 3 weeks, maybe a month, as I did with the last reduction. Check in with all my friends to see if they've noticed any differences, myself. Because as you go forward, because 6 months is about, from what I can gather, 6 months is about where you will find that your brain has found its new happy baseline, and you get to a level where it gives you enough serotonin to be a normal brain, I suppose, or whatever. And what they say is, if you've been on SSRIs for a long time, I can't help but when I say that, it's thinking of Vauxhall Cavalier. Does anybody else think that? SRI? It's just maybe in the twat, sorry. But if you've been on it, the longer you've been on it, the longer it takes to come off it. And then there's a lot of people on there, oh, well, you'll get the horrors, you'll get the withdrawals, you'll get this, you'll get that. Maybe you will. I can't talk for me. I can talk for me. I've come off it before, I didn't get any of that, right? And then somebody's come out with some sort of report saying, well, actually, you can just stop it. Now, I haven't read it, nor am I interested, because I don't trust a lot of what the pharmaceutical industry puts out, because basically a patient cured is a customer lost, and they all want us all to be trustees in natural, or sort of not natural, modern medicine, because it makes a lot of money. So much so that they were in league with a lot of companies which have put stuff into their food which will end up making you not as healthy as, let's say, for instance, we used to be in the 60s and 70s. Remember when they told you that fat's bad and you've got to have reduced fat and instead you can have this? Well, this was shit and that, the old one, was working. I was thinking yesterday, how is it all these old people were so healthy? Why? Because they used the same diet that people had used for thousands and thousands of years before some fuckwit came along and thought we can make a few quid out of this. It's a bit like global warming. We all know that the planet does this and that, but they've cottoned on to the fact that what they can do is blame you for using a vehicle, and that's now going to change the environment, although the environment does what the environment does. And if you took together all the pollution we've chucked out with vehicles over the last 100 years, it wouldn't be as much as in the Industrial Revolution. And if you took everything out of the Industrial Revolution that we chucked out, that wouldn't be the same as an eruption from one of these volcanoes, allegedly. So whatever, right? But it's great tax. Trillions and trillions a year. I've gone off on one again. However, where am I going? So I'm going to come off this medication, and I'm going to document it, right? But as you can see at the moment, I'm unreasonably happy. Now, I'm not unhappy about being happy. That's such a twat thing to say. But I want to be as natural as I can be, right? Incidentally, having a look at my BMI from this thing, and apparently they're between 95 and 98% accurate. And I bought a blood pressure thing that you take in the morning because I want to track my health going to the gym and other stuff. So I had I was 121 over 72 and 68 beats per minute or something like that this morning at rest, which I consider fairly good. My body fat now is about 21.3 or something like that. Anyway, my skeletal muscles quite high, but I'm going to go to the gym and all the other things, and I'm going to keep an eye on this. But these are all things that just wouldn't have got done when I was living life from weekend to weekend and just going on the piss. It just wasn't happening. And it's amazing, a lot of my friends who I thought were gonna drop me, turns out they were looking, little Al there, poor Al, they were all looking for somebody to do this with. I think a lot of people are coming around to this, which is good for them. And so we're all going to go to the places and pick up a coffee instead or whatever. So there it is. I wanted to talk to you about this because I was worried. Now I did, back when I was drinking, I did 18 months, I think it was, without happy pills. When then things just got a bit shit, then in the end I decided to take them. The difference between now and then, apart from the fact that you're not attacking your body with all that shit, that poison in your brains not working in the same way, is that I have things to look forward to, things to be happy about, a future to think about, and now knowing that I'm not going to be in money problems for the rest of my life because I'm not going to be having days off. I'm not going to be looking for taking unpaid work off, because being self-employed you can take time off if you want, and you'll be like, oh fuck it, I'll go on the piss today. Knowing that you could do extra shifts, knowing that your body's not going to be letting you down, knowing that you're not going to be spending the extra 150 and 250 quid a week on the piss. There's money going into the accounts now. There's money being put aside for things that I just didn't, and that I would panic about, well, how am I going to get the money for this? Because alcohol just seemed to be more important. So there's a lot of stress that's been reduced by this. And you can imagine that you can plan for stuff now, because in the past I couldn't plan for things because I didn't know where my mental state was going to be. It's not a problem now. So there's so much potential, and that gives you reasons to be cheerful. And that, yeah, so this is where I am. I'd read all your comments anyway. I'd like to see what you think about this. Now, many of you in the past on my other channel were telling me, get off the alcohol, get off the medicine. And I was like, yeah. And they were right. And so many people that I thought were, I don't know, just nagging, just didn't know me, didn't know my problems. And the truth is, they actually knew more about my problems than I did. And they actually knew, because they'd been through it, what it was that I was missing out on, what it was that I was actually doing to myself, and that if I could stop it, what would happen to me. And I just didn't listen, like most don't. Because we've said it before and we'll say it again, alcohol's the only drug that when you give up, people think there's something wrong with you. What a marketing tool. What a clever bit of indoctrination the alcohol industry has been. There you go. Anyway, I hope you're all doing well and happy and stuff. And if you're not, and if you're watching this, right, and you are struggling with alcohol or whatever, it depends on your mindset. Some of you will be able to do this on your own, some of you won't. Now that's individual. Some of you may be people who like to do stuff as a collective, some of you may be loners. Work out whatever suits you best. If you want to go to a meeting and talk with other people who are going through the same thing, do that, all right? Because they'll come up with things, strategies that you hadn't thought of. The one I got told the other day was, why is it, as a kid, you didn't like the taste of alcohol? Because it was picked up like, fucking shit. And yet, you carried on doing it. Now, as a kid, you did it because you wanted to look cool. After a while, you started to like the effects. And then after a while, you started to like the taste and couldn't work it out because the taste didn't change, you did. And what it was, to any of you who have given up drink for a while and gone back to it, the taste was shit. But then you still did it, and then the taste got good again. And like itself, you've probably tried to work out why that was. And what happens is the brain changes the way you perceive that drink because it knows it's going to give you a dopamine hit, which then tells you you like it until you get used to it, and then you do end up liking it. It's a bit like coffee. I was trying that coffee with no milk, but I did it for a while, and I ended up almost not getting to like it, but getting to accept it. Except that didn't give me any dopamine rush, so it was somewhat harder, or at least I didn't feel it did. It gave me something, didn't it? Because caffeine, but not the same way that alcohol did for me, so it took longer. But yeah, so it's weird how the brain rewires stuff to make you believe that you need something, you want something, you yearn for something. It is your crutch. It is the thing that will fix your problems. It's the thing that will deal with the stress for the day. It will do all of these things, and actually, it is the fucking opposite. So, been a real learning curve, but I haven't stopped watching everybody else's opinion on YouTube about alcohol. Some of them you go, oh, fuck me. And others you go, that's a you thing, not a me thing. But I take it on board, and I listen to these people that have been sober for a while, and you listen to them, you think, fucking fair play. There's so many things that they touch on, you go, do you know what, yeah. But at the time, you just don't see it. Now, I'm not a person that'll ever tell you have to do something, right? I'm just going to tell you what it's doing for me. And you can fucking see it for yourself, right? And even when you get an attack of gout, now, I don't know why that happened, right? Some people say because you're, I don't know, having a detox. Some people will say maybe you've had a couple of sweet things instead, and your body didn't like it. Maybe it's because you're losing weight. That's the other thing. I thought, well, you're not losing weight because your body's staying the same. Well, turns out with all that exercise, you were losing fat and you were gaining muscle and you were staying about the same. But on this thing, the figures were changing. And you could see, you know, your buckle size had gone in by 2 or 3, was it, whatever. Your stature, where you held yourself, that had changed. So, all of this within a month and a bit. And I gotta tell you, when you start to look at yourself and you feel, because the first month's gonna be shit, sorry love, it is, right? The first month is gonna do its best to drag you back into drinking. It's the way it is. That is, the first 3 days of the shit, right? So if I were you, I'd try giving up drinking when you had the shits, or something like that, right? Wait for some event. Well, you should just do it straight away, but if you struggle, wait for some chronic event so you can't drink, all right? And you'll blame it on having the shits or whatever it is that's wrong with you, like the flu. And at least you'll have got the worst of it out of the way. And then just carry on after that. That's how I used to start my diets. Shit yourself thin. And then, by the way, does anybody know what it's like to take gout tablets? Speaking of shit yourself thin. Yeah, that's not good. Anyway, there you are. Right, I'm going to have to get off. I've waffled on enough. Let me know what you think about the waffling. And I'm now going to deal with one of the slowest people on the planet. See you in a bit.